Right, people, what's happening? And welcome back to the third, I'm calling it the third because we didn't have a name for it before, the third episode of The Best of London with myself and my good friend Joel Beya. Joel, what's happening, mate?
Bro, I'm doing all right, you know. And I want to give a massive shout out to you guys who watch the show because I've been getting a lot of messages on my Instagram. I'm always plugging my Instagram at Joel Beya 1. But the reality is there's been people that I've been speaking to who watch this show. Yeah. And they'll be like Chelsea fans. There'll be some of them are whoever's watching. But I've been speaking to a lot of Chelsea fans and they'll be like, oh, right, you respond and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, because we're just talking football. And that's what we said. It's so good to hear you lot's opinions. And it's refreshing to speak to like football fans who we're just football fans. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we have the banter sometimes here and there, but like it's just appreciating each other's teams, players, and football in general. So you guys are absolutely class, man. I
think it's going down well with the audiences. I was at a boxing show again, not the Misfit show I was saying about. I was at another boxing show on Saturday night. Yeah, and I had a good 3-4 people come up to me and go, "I love the link up with Joel Beya. I've been watching it." Nice. Most of them were Arsenal fans, to be fair. So yeah,
nice,
yeah, but no, it's really all love it. It's good, man. Yeah. Premier League's back this weekend. Yes, thank God for that. The England content doesn't always go down too well,
no, it doesn't.
We have now finished our qualification campaign. Obviously, bit of a dud, I could say it, for the last game and the game before that, even though we won against Malta. And we're not going to dissect those games because I don't think we can really take too much from those games. But one thing we will do in this video is we are both going to give our starting 11 picks for the first game. We don't know who it will be up against yet, but for the first game of the group stages in Germany. So that's going to come a little bit later on in the video, but we're going to start off by talking about the weekend's games. There's only one place to start for me. I want to pick your brains a little bit. Newcastle. They were the team to end Arsenal's unbeaten start to the season. Just how big a threat are Newcastle to Chelsea going in to Saturday's game?
I'll probably say huge because one thing about Newcastle, and this is what I love about how Eddie's made his team, right? They're just dirty when they have to, man, when they have to be. They know that they're not always the most talented. You know, I'm not saying they're not talented, but there's other teams in the league that are more talented than them. I'll say Chelsea. You know, your players are overall more gifted than the majority of theirs. But they know, pretty similar to Arsenal, right? But they know how to like nullify a game. They get to a point where if they've got the result they want or they're sitting in a position in the game that they want, they know how to like drag it out, make it longer, get in the ref's face, you know, rattle the players. It's honestly like I appreciated it from them when we played them last season. We played them in, I think it was December when I came back from Qatar World Cup, and we played against them, and it was a draw then as well, I believe. But honestly, the dirty part of the game is what they do so well against the bigger teams. You know, I think if they keep doing that and then they keep sprinkling the talent like the way they have done, obviously Tonali's out, but you know, with the more gifted players when they've got Isak back and once you start doing that and you can do the dirty side of the games, you can then win however. Do you see what I mean? So for me, I think they haven't been the greatest in the league, which is maybe not so much of a shock because now they've got Champions League. They've now got other things to be focusing on. But I think if you can, I don't know if the answer is to play their game or ignore their game, like the little tough bits and stuff like that, then maybe you can come out with a draw or something like that. But
I think the attributes you've just mentioned there that Newcastle have got are the ones that only really time can give you, and because of that, maybe Chelsea are lacking those attributes a little bit in terms of like that game management, that know-how, being able to do the dirty side of things. There's no doubt, listen, I've got friends who are Newcastle fans, there's no doubt that we've got more talent in our side than Newcastle at this moment in time. You know, looking 5 years down the line, that probably won't be the case, but at the moment, there is no doubt we're a more talented side. But I do think, that game management, the 12th man, which is, you know, St James's Park crowd, I think it'd be a really tough match for us, but they have got an injury crisis going on there. They are coming off the back of 2 losses. That could rile them up a little bit more. But I do think that these bigger games are the ones that do suit Chelsea. However, saying that, right, out of all these big teams that we've played recently and that, you know, we've obviously still got Brighton and Man United to come, Newcastle are the ones that I'm like, they're a little bit different to the other sides. Tottenham were only ever going to attack us. City were only ever going to attack us. Newcastle have a bit more to their game when it comes to the game management, I would say, on that side of things. So whereas, look, like City were never going to come to Stamford Bridge and play a low block. With Newcastle, you could actually maybe see them doing that. You could maybe see them going, okay, well, we know what your weakness is. So instead of just trying to play you off the park, we'll maybe do what we know that you struggle with, and then we can try and take points off you that way. But we can't ignore the fact they've got an injury crisis. They're going to have a lot of their best players out through injury or suspension. And I think that if Chelsea can go into that game and beat Newcastle, push for definitely Europa League spots, if not Champions League, is definitely on, isn't it, really?
100%. And I think we mustn't forget that Newcastle have a big game on Tuesday evening against PSG. Now, yeah, they've already done a good job against them, but they're going to want another good result over there. So
if they want to get through that group, they got to win their next 2 games.
Well, there you go. So, and I think they could have an eye on that as well. It doesn't matter what their players say. They can say, oh, no, we take it a game at a time, but Champions League, they're going to want to go as far as they can because they don't even know if they're going to be making it next season. So they're going to give their all. So I think that could help you. They could, if Chelsea can take advantage of that, because no one's going to tell me that they're not thinking about that game on Tuesday. Hell no, they are thinking about it. And do they have the experience? Like, like you got the cities, they know how to manage it game by game for real. Or I know Liverpool, I'm not in it, but the Liverpools of this world, like they know how to, it's not a big occasion to them anymore. So they know how to manage their games. But I think for Newcastle, they'll be looking a game ahead. So I think you've got a chance to get a draw.
So if I had to push you for a prediction, would you be going with a draw in that game?
Yeah, 100%. I could be going 1-0.
Yeah.
1-0. 1-0, 2-2, but I say a draw. I don't see them just beating you. I don't. Especially with the form that you guys are in now. You've had some really good results. Nicholas Jackson, getting in the goals.
Jackson.
And I think the confidence that the likes of the Cole Palmers of this world will have. Is Reece James playing this game, do you reckon? Should be, right?
Reece James is not only playing, a lot of people do know their ground as St Reece James's Park. So I think, he's got a couple of goals there. He's put in a couple of good performances at St James's Park. So I think, Reece James will be a big one in this match.
I think that performance to see, I love Trippier. I think Trippier's just cold, bro. Like, never saw that guy coming till maybe 2018 or whatever. But I think it's always a really good test to see who performs better out of the two, because I think whoever does, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you start to edge on who's gonna be on top of who in the England squad as well come the summer. Like, I know it's far away and there's still loads of months to go, but for me, it's such a great matchup to see, even though it's on the opposite ends. But
we've got a while until we see who Gareth Southgate picks out of those two. But luckily for you lot, you've got about 5 minutes to see who we pick out of those two, if either of those two. And we're going to get onto the England squad. For that match, for me personally, look, if you offered me a draw, I probably would take it
100%.
Because I really respect Newcastle and I think they're a great team, and I think to continue an unbeaten streak of recent last couple of games against good sides can only be a good thing. But I do think that I want to see Chelsea capitalise on a bit of vulnerability here, which, we've got to have it right. There is vulnerability here. They've got a major injury crisis without a lot of players. And for that reason, and exactly what you said about them having one eye on that PSG game, we got to go there and get a win. Another team that really, really need a win this season to push them up to potentially the top of the league is Arsenal. You guys are playing Brentford. Obviously, if there's anything barring a Man City win in this match, there's the possibility of you going top of the league. If they draw Man City and Liverpool, you'll go top of the league. And even if Liverpool beat City 1-0 or something, and you can put 3 past Brentford, you'll go top of the league on goal difference. How important is it that you not only put in a performance here, but you get the 3 points at Brentford?
I think it's important because I feel like we've got a bit of a breather as well. We got a little bit lucky as well, because I feel like if City were on 5th gear, they could be running away with the league at the moment. But I just don't even think they've really started, which is a problem for the rest of us, because if they ain't really started and they're still where they are, then my God, what happens when they get Kevin De Bruyne back? And historically they're known for kicking on in January. Yeah. So we need to keep the pressure on them, regardless of where we are, whether they're on top on goal difference or first or second or whatever. It's all about, I don't care what that table says, it's about keeping the pressure on City.
The fact Liverpool are right up there this season then, does that benefit you in a way, in terms of keeping the pressure on City, because, you know, if there's two teams keeping the pressure on them, there's two teams putting that pressure on them each week where, you know you have to win sort of thing. I think that it could even benefit you a little bit having Liverpool up there. No.
You don't want. You've already got one headache in City. You don't need two. And for us, you got to remember, if there's another team that's really good at stringing along a long run, it's Liverpool Football Club. And you know, we've seen they've lost out to them by 1 point on a couple of occasions in the last few years. There's a lot of players and the manager obviously who have a know-how to carry that on. You're seeing Virgil van Dijk back at his best as well. I don't want Liverpool anywhere near the top spot. I'm hoping that they'll start to like tail off or get some dodgy results, but some of their players are looking good, man. McAllister's starting to look good. That Szoboszlai guy, I always struggle to say his name.
He don't get spoken about enough though, does he? It's that reason. Bro. It's because people can't pronounce their name. They think, I won't give him his flowers.
He's good, man. And obviously you got Salah again hitting, you know, forms that we've seen in the past. I mean, no, you talk about players not really being mentioned. He's not really being mentioned, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure if we pulled out the stats and saw the goal, I completely forgot what it was, but he is killing it.
We said it about Jarrod Bowen, right? Me and you were sitting talking and we were going, it's mad when you look at his stats. That surprises us. One thing that doesn't surprise me now is that I'm always going to be surprised when I look at Salah's stats, because I know Salah's the man, you know what I mean? But you put up his stats and you're like, has he... he scored and assisted that many. Like, it's gone under the radar a little bit.
Like,
so
easily.
He's
I'm trying to look for it now, if I'm to be really honest with you. Like,
he's class.
Look at this, like 12 Premier League games, 10 goals, 4 assists, bro. Do you know what I mean? In the Europa League, 4 appearances, 2 goals, and you know he ain't really started yet. You know, like
big worry for them there. Then what's it? January, African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
And Egypt normally go deep in that, don't they?
And don't forget as well, he's only played in the Europa League. He's only played 125 minutes, mate, and in 4 appearances. So he's not really started on that yet. Like, he's not really, bro. Honestly, like Mo Salah, it's an early shout, but he currently is maybe the best player in the Premier League at the moment, isn't it?
And when we look at him potentially going to Saudi Arabia at some point, because I do think it will happen, maybe not this season, but I do think it will happen.
After this season, I think he goes in the summer.
His legacy deserves another Premier League title in there, doesn't it? You're not going to want that because it could be at Arsenal's expense. But
even if he doesn't win the Premier League, I reckon, first of all, Liverpool's that club where they needed that trophy in 20, 25 years, however long it took them. And he is one of the main reasons, like if not the main reason. Okay, you got Mane, and I don't want to disrespect the other guys that are put in the work, like Van Dijk and Alisson and these absolute legends, you know, for the club. Literally, that's what they are, gods, legends. But what he's done has been phenomenal, man. Like, I rate Luis Suarez massively, especially that Suarez at Barcelona. I remember Rio was saying on Bible 5, he was picking Benzema over Suarez. I was just like, Rio, I know, you know, like Benzi's your boy in that, but you might want to hold your horses there, because Suarez was just another level. Him, Messi and Neymar could be the deadliest that we've ever seen up top, full stop, you know. But when you go back and you look at what Salah's done for Liverpool, mate, as much as I love Suarez and I think he was a dangerous player and he had players on top of their heads and that, you got to start leaning towards legacy as well and consistency. How many times has he come out there with the golden boot? How many times has he not played well? And he that moment of magic, he gets you the goal. For me, he has surpassed, even, you know, I used to love watching Owen at Liverpool. I know it's not even a comparison. Do you know what I mean? He's surpassed Owen. He surpassed Torres, who they loved. You know, he's surpassed all of them. Heskey. Yes, people go, oh, it's a different position. No, just, I know he's a winger or whatever, but I'm talking about attackers because the game's changed, right? He surpassed every single player that I've ever seen with my own eyes play for Liverpool.
I can't resist asking you the question then.
Go on.
One-off match. Not over longevity, the course of a season, one-off match. You can pick Salah starting up top or Suarez. Prime versus prime.
Prime versus prime. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I still say Suarez because Suarez. Barcelona Suarez, bro, if he's not scoring. So the funny thing is he's scoring. But if for whatever reason he's not scoring, pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure. You can play him on the wing. You can play him down the middle, bro. You don't want that problem. That problem. And if he's not doing that, he's assisting. I'm not saying that Salah doesn't assist because he does.
Yeah.
But you get more from Suarez if he's not playing well than you do from Salah.
I wouldn't even go Barcelona Suarez. I'll go Suarez against Norwich.
Oh.
He used to terrorise those boys.
Oh, my God.
Still having nightmares about him. Let me just push you for...
I was just going to say, that's when we saw the best Daniel Sturridge as well.
Yeah.
He brought the best out of other players. That's what Salah doesn't really do that. Do you know what I mean? He'll look after his own game. Yeah, he will assist, but it's more about him. Is he on form? Whereas Suarez, it's like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, you got a Raheem Sterling doing better. You got it was incredible, man.
Speaking of Sturridge, that's my next recommendation for you to get on the Vibe on 5. 5 or 5, you got to get Sturridge on there.
Yeah,
man.
no, we're looking into that
so
for sure,
good.
man. Like.
Let me push you for a prediction. Let's start off with the Arsenal game.
Wait. We had Mikel Jonobi on 5 podcast, and it was incredible, bro. Like it's going everywhere. Like I can't believe I never mentioned it. Did I even tell you that? Was you? Yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was sick.
Yeah.
I tell you what, like, do you know what I love about him is, I get he's retired now, but some footballers will still be a bit coy about their experiences. Mikel don't care.
He talks, innit?
He don't care. He'll speak about stuff, and listen, yeah. I started doing YouTube. Why? Because I was a YouTube fan. I used to love YouTube. Like I would sit and digest content every evening, and that's the sort of thing I'd love. I don't want to hear like, oh, there was something in the chat. What
was it?
you know what I mean?
The stories about Abramovich, the stories about family nicking money from him. Like honestly, playing against Messi, your players in the changing room, Hazard. Honestly, it's. I was so honoured. Did you get a picture?
I didn't. Nah.
Was you too cool or something?
Yeah, I was trying to be a bit cool.
Stop it, man. Stop it. But anyway, go.
Nah, it's good. Prediction for Arsenal against Brentford. I'll start off. I think you're going to smoke them.
2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're not united. We're not united. We're not going to struggle against them. Let me.
Do you know what? Yeah, like this is going to sound ironic, and people are going to come for me.
Brentford.
It's at their place. All right, I'll go 3-0 maybe. Yeah. I didn't actually rate them when they turned up and beat us at Stamford Bridge.
Really?
No, I didn't think they were that good. Just thought we were absolutely rubbish.
Are you sure you're not hating?
Yeah,
no, they cause problems, bro.
Yeah.
Like you had them
but everyone's
looking.
good. Everyone's good. It's the Premier League, isn't it? You boys will be comfortable with them. You'll be comfortable with them. City against Liverpool.
It's a tough one, you know. If anyone knows how to give City a hard time, it's Liverpool. I see a draw in that.
I see a draw too.
I see a 1-1, maybe 2-2. Right on the fence on that one, because if anyone knows how to unlock that Pep Guardiola key, it's Klopp.
Let me give you my slight upset for the weekend. Everton, absolutely spurred on by what's gone on with them, with the points deduction and whatnot. They're beating Man United.
I said the same thing. That if Sean Dyche is a good manager, what he's going to do, he's going to say, it's us against the world.
Yeah, use it. Use the fire, harness it, and take it out on Man United.
10-point bounce back.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
You know the ironic thing is, yeah, I think if Palace playing Luton, I think if Palace beat Luton and Everton do beat Man United, they're at the relegation zone anyway. What a season to have a 10-point deduction in, by the way.
That's mad. Yeah, because I said it already. I don't think they're going down. They'll be on 4 points.
I think they were on 14 points. They'll be on 4 points. If Luton lose, Everton beat Man United. And do you know what? Something's just telling me, like, I look at Everton this season, I'm like, do you know what? They're all right, man.
They're doing better in the last few games, isn't it? It's in the last few games. But I'll tell you what, it's not just the points, though. It's, for me, it's, you've got other clubs that are now suing. So Leeds, Southampton, I think, and Burnley, or I can't remember where you're at. But
I think it is.
And they're all suing for 100 million.
Yeah.
So can you imagine, right? They get sued for a total of 300 million. What happens to the football club? Let alone, forget this season. What happens to the football club in general?
Do you know why? Look, I don't really know too deep into this situation to be able to really give my opinion on it. But from the outset of, if it's like finances for dummies, what I do understand. I feel Everton were very harshly done by, because I feel like a lot of that FFP stuff and the rules they broke was out of building the new stadium. And okay, in the future, that might give you an advantage. But in terms of that time period, it didn't give you an advantage on the pitch. Those players aren't going, I lift my performance today because I know there's a new stadium in 2 years. When my contract's done, I might not even be here.
Yeah.
I feel a little bad for him. But we won't go too far into that. But we both agree that could be an upset.
But 100%. And just to add as well, if they're getting fined 10 points, right? Man City, 115 charges. I mean, I spoke to David Ornstein about it, and Rio was saying that he wants Julian Lescott to bring him his precise medal, to bring it to his house so he can have it. Are you worried about Chelsea?
Yeah, I am worried. Very worried, like it's not good. I do think that by the time it comes round, we're going to be in a much better position. What the sort of ironic thing might be is like we probably don't get Champions League football this season. The odds are definitely stacked against us. Maybe by next season we're up there pushing. We finally get Champions League football after a 3-year hiatus by that point, and then we get a points deduction. I'll tell you what, right? This is not me saying it's right. This is not me gloating about this. But there is big club bias, and we're going to see big club bias here. And the Everton fans are going to feel very hard done by when this happens, because Everton got 10 points. Chelsea and Man City don't even get 30 points. I think we get 20 points deducted or something like that. And there'll be uproar from the smaller teams. Everton, the likes of Luton, who when they were down in the lower leagues, they were sort of treated pretty unfairly, most people would say, and other teams that it's happened to, Portsmouth in the past. So a lot of teams will feel there's a lot of injustice that goes on once it happens.
It's funny because look, I'm just putting it out there because I'm just me, right? And I always say to you off camera, I'm a churchgoer, right? And my pastor at my church, is a big Chelsea fan, and he wanted me to tell you to stop saying that Chelsea are going to get deducted points. He watches your show, like it's random, but it's the truth. He said, "Can you stop putting it out there?" He says it's not true, but I guess that's just him being defensive.
Yeah.
Tell him to pray. Tell him to pray. There's no points deducted. Oh, yeah, go on.
Yeah, we'll stick a pin in that one. We'll stick a pin in that one. Right, let's move on. England. What an exciting couple of games, eh? Edgy your seat stuff.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I didn't watch either.
Nah. I watched
highlights.
I watched about 20 minutes of the North Macedonia. I'll tell you what was funny.
Yeah.
Southgate. I need to remember the woman that was interviewing him, and I don't know her name, but after the game, she sort of said about it, and he went, if anyone thought we were going to come here and blow them away, every game's hard, especially away from home. I'm paraphrasing here, but, so there's nothing to say that we would have come here and blown North Macedonia away. And she went, well, you beat them 7-0 at Wembley. And he went, yeah, we're very good at home. It's like, oh my God, don't say that. We're not on home soil for this next tournament. But I don't read too much into the performances. I read a bit into the squad selection and the teams, or the players, I should say, that he's been picking.
Yep.
Some of it we'd agree with, some of what we wouldn't agree with. But in this last bit of today's episode, and people, before we get into this, do me a massive favour. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button because it's helping us out massively. Joel's Instagram is linked in the description. Make sure you follow him. A lot of you been messaging him. He's been getting back to you. But let's go with our starting 11 for the opening group game. Let me give it a little bit of context here, right?
Right.
With A seeds. So the chances are, barring something, really dramatic happening, we're going to be in there against lower level opposition in comparison to us. We're not going to be in there with any of the favourites to go and win the tournaments. And I believe because of that, we're going to be able to have the luxury a little bit of experimenting with one or two things here. Starting 11 for the opening group game. Who are you going with?
Pickford in goal.
Yep.
Just because Ramsdale was hardly played. That's the only reason. If not, I might have given him a chance. Right back, Reece James. No.
You can't do that.
Because I like Reece James. I do.
Thought you had him there, man.
But I think at this time you go with Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
At the current time. I'm doing a 4-3-3, by the way.
Yep.
Right back, Kyle Walker. Reece James, really close, but it's got to be Kyle Walker. Left back, I go Kieran Trippier. Centre backs, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Maguire and Stones. I would love to say Levi Colwill, but I don't think I've seen enough of him as a centre-back for me to be like, you're ready for this tournament to start straight away. That might change in a few months.
If Chelsea were to secure a top 5 finish in Champions League football, do you think there's any chance Southgate could look at that and go, right, I'll have Levi Colwill in there? Or do you think
it's too spicy for Gareth.
Yeah.
Too spicy for him.
Only 2 games left, both friendlies.
Too spicy. And as Steve Housen says, he likes ready salted crisps.
Yeah.
So, plain.
Yeah, pasta with butter.
But in the 3 in the middle, I would say Declan Rice. This one's a difficult one. It's like, who else do we put in there? Because I'm not going Calvin Phillips.
It's not difficult for me, but we'll wait. We'll wait. You know, I'm going with that.
As it stands, Conor Gallagher. As it stands, I agree with you. As it stands, and of course the boy Jude Bellingham.
Yep.
On the right, little Chile, God's child, chosen one, Saka.
Yep.
On the left, now I'll go in the middle, it's got to be Harry Kane.
Of course.
On the left, right about now. Raheem Sterling, free Raheem Sterling. Come on, people.
That's what we like to hear.
Raheem Sterling. But he ain't going to do that because he's not going to take Raheem Sterling. So, if he's not going to take Raheem Sterling, then it probably has to be Jack Grealish, because I feel like Rashford's, for England anyway, he's more impactful coming off the bench. Yeah.
Kieran Trippier left back. No chance that if Luke Shaw does come back, plays the last sort of 4 months of the season, that you think. Again, I don't want to filter into what would Gareth do. What would you do? Would you still have Trippier there instead of Luke Shaw there?
It just depends on what form Luke Shaw comes in. Like, if Luke Shaw is at his best, his very, very best, then Luke Shaw all day long. But after being out for so long, who knows how he's going to come back? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who knows? And I think England are blessed in that department, man. Like, he really has options in that department. Do you see what I mean? Like, I do pick a fully fit Luke Shaw at left back over Trippier, but it's just because it's his more natural position. Set
pieces always massively important for us in tournaments.
Yeah,
it looks like neither of us are going to have James Ward-Prowse on the pitch, and for that reason, you go next best of a dead ball. You would probably fancy Kieran Trippier in there, wouldn't you?
I was going to say, looking at my choice, I said Jack Grealish.
I've put down Sterling. I've got Sterling on the graphic for you.
We don't know if he's going, right? So I'm going with what my man's going to do, Gareth. If, for example, there is no Grealish, I don't know, it's a toss-up between Foden and Grealish for me. Because Foden, with his form, like, in fact, if anything, I put him ahead of Gallagher.
We've seen
so much.
We've seen Maddison out on that left wing for Southgate. Listen, Maddison shouldn't be anywhere near a left wing for me.
No.
He should be through the middle, but we've seen him there. We have seen him there. Care. We'll speak about that position. I'll tell you what, we'll wait till we come to my lineup, because I can give you a spoiler. I have got Gallagher in there, so we'll debate whether sort of him and Foden could go in there. Apart from that, I think the team that you've picked is pretty fair. The only one thing I will talk about just quickly, Maguire. You don't fancy having the likes of even a Mark Gahey in there next to John Stones?
No, because for international tournament, right, Maguire's currently playing.
Yep.
Whether we like it or not, he's keeping Varane out of the team. So I'm going with what it is, ceteris paribus, all things being equal. Those are you guys who learned that at school many years ago. He's playing. So for me, if he is playing, I don't mind having him there because he's delivered for England. If he's sitting on the bench all day long, then I might consider a Levi Colwill or someone else, or tomorrow, whatever, but he's playing. So as far as I'm concerned, he's fit. He's not doing badly either. So he starts.
I think what we've also got to factor into this is substitutes in tournament football. Games that, if they're tight, can very much go into extra time. You bring a sub on at 70 minutes. plus sort of added time and extra time, that player can be on the pitch for the best part of an hour.
Oh, man.
So it's we can have game changers there. And one team, listen, there's plenty of other teams in the tournament that do, but one team that I would argue has more strength in depth than any, especially in those attacking areas, is England. So I think substitutes be massively important for us. I'll give you my team. Same formation, same goalkeeper. Pickford, I'm starting off in goal. Right back, it can only be one man for me, and it's got to be Reece James.
You're so biased, man.
Happily.
You're so biased.
It's got to be Reece James.
See me, you know I'm not biased. I'm not here doing the Arsenal agenda. But mate.
The fans like it. The subscribers like it. No. Do you know what though? Let me tell you why I'm not so biased, because you would start Kyle Walker there, yeah?
I love Reece James. But
Kyle Walker, he's got to be in the team.
Yeah, well, you're going to switch it up a little bit.
Kyle Walker is in my team.
He's going to put him as a centre back. And I'm going for at the back.
Kyle Walker at centre-back. Now, remember the context I gave you before the video started. This is the first game. We're probably going to be playing someone like, you know...
So what are you doing? You playing John Stones on...
Jones, yeah, I've got Phil Jones in there next to me. I'm playing Walker Stones. Walker Stones as my centre-back pairing. And the reason for that, it's our first game. We've got the luxury to be able to experiment a little bit with this. And I do think that...
Stones is right-footed though, right?
Yeah,
bringing the ball out with his left, Stones.
How many times have we...
Pinging a diagonal ball?
Some of the most successful centre-back pairings have been two right-footers.
Okay, cool. No, I think it's just the modern game, innit?
Yeah. I get it. I do get it. But I think, okay, right. Who do I think is less vulnerable? Maguire Stones or Walker Stones? And I get that we're playing him out of...
The question I was going to say is out of position though, Joey. Like, some of the natural instincts that these centre-backs have, he might step up too quickly. He might not get out quick enough.
If we were playing a free at the back, he's not really out of position, because we have seen later on in his career, he's played in that free at the back on the right-hand side of the fence a lot of times, Kyle Walker. But the way I look at it is this. Maguire often gets beat for pacing behind. Kyle Walker isn't getting beat for pacing behind. Okay, he might not have the same sort of physical presence as Maguire, but I do think that...
Oh, you mean in the air?
In the air. I do think that the other attributes make up for it. However, I would say this, and obviously, look, he's been played slightly out of position. We won't know until we see it. But I needed to get Reece James in that team. And I've gone for the old Sven-Goran Eriksson tactics here. It's just so much about getting the team. But no, what I would say with this, the way I'm looking at things... How many games until the final? 8? So we'll be playing 8 games if we get to a final, right? Wholeheartedly, being completely truthful with yourself, can Harry Maguire do 8 to 90 minutes, sometimes more, without risking a match-changing mistake?
Yeah, for England, yeah. He's done it many times.
For England, he risked a match-changing mistake against North Macedonia the other day. In the last 8 games, we've played Italy and Germany. In both of those matches, I would say he made match-changing mistakes. I'm not even going to dig him out for the own goal. I can't remember who we're playing now, but you remember the own goal we scored recently? Was it Scotland? It was, wasn't it? The own goal. I'm not even going to dig him out for that, because a lot of defenders, top quality defenders, can make that mistake there. But I just don't fancy him to be able to make.
Maybe you're not wrong. Maybe you're not wrong.
But I'm probably not right.
Yeah, maybe you're not right either, because we can only go with what he's done during the international tournaments. Because that's like turning around and saying, well, Raheem Sterling hasn't played, so no, he plays international tournament. He's got a great record. That's what we're going off here. You got to play. Maguire himself, he's still in the team because of what he did 3 years ago. Yeah. So,
by the way, there's absolutely no chance that Southgate goes with this lineup. But yeah, Chilwell left back. No, joking.
I was going to say, where'd that come from? I was going to say, what?
I love Trippier, man, but if Shaw is fit and firing, I'd have Shaw there. And I think Southgate definitely would as well, The midfield 3, I'd have Rice. I would have him paired with Conor Gallagher, the man who at the moment is outperforming Declan Rice in a few metrics, defensive ones as well, ironically. Like a lot, I said that the other day. I think it was even today. I might have said it on a clip on my page. A lot of people said, well, Conor Gallagher's playing further. If you look at heat maps, Conor Gallagher is slightly forward, but not all that much. And look at a lot of the metrics. A lot of them are defensive metrics that Conor Gallagher's outperforming over the same amount, more or less, give or take, by about 12 minutes of game time. So
the eye test, mate. That's all I'm saying.
Is Rice a better player than Conor Gallagher? Yeah. Of course.
Cool. As long as we know that, mate. Of course. I'm holding on to that one.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? I think Rice had good academy training I'm going to pair him with Conor Gallagher. We look at the other options there, yeah? Calvin Phillips, he doesn't play. James Ward-Prowse, unreal at set pieces and underrated at everything else.
It's true.
But he doesn't have the youth. He doesn't have the physicality. He doesn't have a lot of the attributes that Conor Gallagher has in there. And I think if Conor Gallagher keeps putting in the sort of performances, I also think, Conor Gallagher is a player, maybe like even personality-wise, that Southgate would very much warm towards, because Conor Gallagher will do what he's told.
Yeah, he says, where do you want me, boss?
Yeah.
Where do you want me? Would you want me to play here, there? He'll play right back if he has to.
Yeah.
Left back, he doesn't mind. So I think a lot of managers like players like that, to be honest with you. Innit?
Just going off subject ever so slightly, speaking of left back, see Kai Havertz the other night? Played left back for Germany.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, I saw bits of the game. He actually played at left back. That being said, he scored the winner, I think.
Listen, I've always said Kai Havertz for Germany. Yeah, if I never saw him play for Chelsea,
that goal against England,
and then I just saw his international performances, and someone said he's coming to my team, I would be buzzing. Like, he's so good for Germany. Every time I see him, anyway, shall I say, he's so good for Germany.
Up top for this team, well, I say up top, sort of attacking midfield, but to be honest, the boy can go wherever he wants and do whatever he wants. Is Jude Bellingham.
Best in the world.
Best in the world, and if we've ever been so reliant, it's mad. We have got Harry Kane absolutely banging goals for fun over at Bayern Munich, and I'm telling you now, the match winner for us is Jude Bellingham. If we can keep this boy fit and on the field, touch wood.
Are you sure? More than Kane?
I'd say so.
I don't think so, because Harry Kane has already broken the record in the Bundesliga for the most amount of goals scored in their first season or something like that. I think he scored more goals than whoever got Golden Boot last season already.
I want to make my argument to that, but I don't want to seem like I'm being downbeat.
To who?
To us as a nation, but Harry Kane has had the opportunity a few times in major tournaments to drive us to.
Nah, man. Kane is still world class, man.
Like, yeah, he is. He's unreal.
It's a bit like
but I see Bellingham as more of a match winner. That doesn't mean in terms of the goals. That means like in terms of being the man to drive us to victory.
Getting you across the line.
That's what I think. I
understand.
Another man who always turns up so far in the tournaments for England, massively important, right wing. There's no other player to put there but Bukayo Saka. Yeah, do you know what, right? I think under Southgate, there's a lot of first names on the team sheet because, we know he likes his favourites. But for me, one of the first 2-3 names on the team sheet, Bukayo Saka. His place doesn't get risked for anyone.
Can I ask you, right? Because obviously we were all like, when he was playing him like excessively in 2021, Euro 2021, even me as an Arsenal fan, I was just like, I was happy for him. I was just like, but what about Sancho, man? Talk to me about Bukayo Saka. Like, what is it about him that you see, like, looking across as a Chelsea fan? Like, what makes you think, I like him as a player?
Do you know what? It's a really strange one because do you know when he first broke into that Arsenal team, he was giving me like, trying to think of someone else here, but the sort of vibes of like a player who I was thinking, yeah, good, you're a little breath of fresh air in there at the minute, but you're not going to go on to be a well beater.
Nah, exactly.
And now I'm actually looking at it and going, top 5 in the world in that position. Easily cemented in there, and you could even possibly start to make an argument for top 3 in the world in that position. I think that wise head on young shoulders, the boy looks fearless, you know what I mean? He does turn up in the major tournaments, and ever since he came into the side, I think against Czech Republic in the final group game in Euro 2020, ever since he came into them, there's never been a time when I thought that anyone should be starting that position ahead of him. And that's a big compliment because we've got such good players there. Again, I just see him as a sort of player that can be a match winner for us. I think he links up well with Harry Kane.
Does really well with Harry, innit?
Again, in tournament football, like, there's certain players for the big games. And Saka's one of them. Can ping a ball from anywhere, speed in behind.
Sometimes you know where he's going, you can't do anything. If he's going down the line, you can't do anything. If he's cutting inside, he's got that cut inside and he shoots. And also, even though I think he's great to have around the dressing room as well. All the lads seem to like him. I think that when you do that and you're a good footballer and you're delivering, mate.
I would like him to have a rest though.
Yeah. I say it
not from England, just club wise. I'd like him to have a little rest.
Listen, I say it in general. I think he's so good. I think like, I'm worried for him. For example, after this tournament, I'm worried for him a year from now because he would have played how many international tournaments, how many Europa League games last year, even when we didn't want him to play and we got knocked out, how many Champions League games this year, how many, like, there's been games this season where he's looked tired. And it's, you know, rightfully so. He's broken the record for like most consecutive appearances. The boy needs a break.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But he's definitely starting for me in my starting 11 for England. There's only one man through the middle, and it's obviously Harry Kane.
Yeah.
A couple of people have said, maybe last tournament of a prime Kane to really drag England over the line. I don't think it is, you know. I think for the World Cup, he's still going to be in that prime because Kane, for me, hasn't ever really been a player that's massively reliant on pace. I think
Fast, though. He's quicker than what we think.
Yeah, he is, but I don't think that when that attribute starts to slide, it's going to be like, well, that's it, then you're gone. You know what I mean? I think it'd grow old gracefully. It'd be a Teddy Sheringham type. I think.
Teddy.
Teddy. Yeah. Alan Shearer. He'd be in that mould. And then on the left wing, we've obviously got a lot of options here. Southgate seems to like Maddison over there every now and again. Grealish, always good in an England shirt for me.
I forgot about Maddison, you know.
Yeah. Foden, a lot of people might have looked at Foden and thought that he could maybe replace Conor Gallagher in that midfield. I just don't think that Foden offers the same amount when it comes to going back as going forward as Gallagher. And I look at, although this is my lineup, how Southgate likes to play and what he likes to rely on his players for. And I think that energy and intensity and being able to cut out the ball there is important. That's why you go Gallagher rather than Foden there. So obviously Foden's a shout for that left wing. Marcus Rashford, I don't think he's in good form, and neither are Man United at the moment. But we look at him in the last World Cup and we were looking at it at one point going, oh, he's one of the best players in the tournament and nearly winning the Golden Boot. So there's a lot of options there. But it's got to be Raheem Sterling. It can only be Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, but you're not being realistic here. You're not being realistic because we all know it should be Raheem Sterling, but we all know it's not going to be Raheem Sterling. So you need to give me an answer that doesn't involve Raza.
I can't do that. I can't do it. It's got to be Raheem Sterling. Listen. We all know that Walker ain't playing centre-back and that Reece James probably ain't starting.
But that's more likely than Raheem going on a plane.
That's the sad thing, that it's more likely. Yeah. That's mad about it. But no, I'm sticking to my guns on it. I'm not backing down on this. And listen, you know when the only time it is completely out of the question is after those two international friendlies. If you ask me it again after those two international friendlies, if he hasn't been called up then, I'll admit defeat and I'll say, okay, it's a lost cause. I'm fighting.
Are you still hoping that it happens?
Yeah, I'm hoping it does. Yeah, of course.
Do you think it will?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So if it's not Raheem Sterling?
I'd go Jack Grealish, you know.
That's what I put originally.
Yeah, I'd go Jack Grealish. I think that he can drag a few players towards him at any one time, which is going to free up Kane in the middle. We know his numbers when it comes to winning free kicks, and especially because of positionally where he is on the pitch, those free kicks can be balls into the box or shots at goal from maybe a Trippier or someone like that on the pitch. So I think Jack Grealish offers
something different as well to Saka as well. And like you said, the drawing the players in is big, man, because it offers you something different on each flank. And yeah, he might not have the best assist.
He ain't got the same sort of pace in behind as a Saka can. No. He probably wants the ball to feet a little bit more and doesn't make those runs in behind. And Sterling, especially this season, we've seen does make those runs in behind. So I think he gives us that sort of option. And I'll tell you one thing, right? If you ask him in the media, he won't give you a name. But if you're behind closed doors and you say to Harry Kane, who do you want? Who do you want there on that left-hand side? He will say Sterling, you know. He will say Sterling.
What inside information do you have?
Tried and tested, mate.
Okay.
Tried and tested. I'm a creature of habit.
I understand.
If you say to me, someone that's turned up in a tournament and laid on assists for you, played with you there, has that understanding of how you play, and knows you're the man as well, and he'll put the ball there for you.
You're right.
I think Kane would go Sterling.
I agree with you.
But listen, what I do want to know, and this isn't a competition, but out of those two sides there, Joel's 11 and my 11, let us know your thoughts in the comments about what one would be more likely to go and win this Euros in Germany. Also, let's have your thoughts on what one is more likely. I want your thoughts on everything else we've spoke about today, including obviously the little preview we done for this weekend's Premier League games. We'll be back in next Wednesday. We'll obviously talk about all the football and probably not too much international talk until the tournament rolls around now, but there's going to be plenty of talking points for us to preview next Wednesday. As I've said already, subscribe to the Vibe with Five, the Five channel. It is linked in the description to this. Have a look at that John Obi-Mikel interview because it is a really, really good one. He was
chatting away.
Yeah, he was spilling a lot of tea on that one. And obviously, make sure you follow Joel on Instagram. His link to his Instagram is in the description. Let us know your thoughts, people. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already.
Hey, before you go, we had an internal meeting the other day, and Rio said you're one of his favourite content creators to watch at the moment, you know?
Yes.
I just wanted to say that.
He's got good taste.
Yeah, no, honestly. And Tom can back it. Tom, who operates our camera,
Yeah.
he was in a meeting, and he was just like, raw, like, I proper like Joey. Like, he's like one of the best out at the moment.
Appreciate
so you're killing
that,
it,
mate.
man.
Well, listen, if Rio's seeing this, then we got Chelsea Man United coming out soon. So,
get on, man.
if you want to jump on the preview, you're more than welcome to.
That'll be good. I'm sure he would.
People,
all right, guys.
see you in the next one.